Today on Independent Wrestling Profiles, we're talking with Vincent Tyler. When did you first get introduced to wrestling?
Well, I first got introduced to wrestling as a little kid. As long as I can remember, there was always wrestling in my life. My granddad is the main reason I'm a wrestling fan. I remember sitting down with him as a kid, and one of the first matches I ever remember is Chavo Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. It could have even just been on a Monday night, but that's when I think back to my first match I remember watching, that comes to mind.
Did they ever take you to a show and get to experience like a live event or an indie event? Or was it just, at least at this point in life, that you were just watching it on television?
So as a little kid, I remember being 6 years old watching Raw with my granddad or SmackDown. And then in about, I think 2008, around when UCW started running shows in Halifax, my granddad took me, and I remember my first real wrestling show. The Honky Tonk Man was on that show, so that was fun to have a legend.
Do you remember maybe how you felt about being in a crowd? Did it really feel different from watching it on TV, where you could hear the chants, you could feel the energy, you could see it in real life in just different angles? And I mean, there is a little bit more interaction with an indie show as well. Did that really appeal to you even more?
Yes, it was exciting, being in the crowd. And I remember the roar of the crowd, even just the introduction, welcome to the show, and everyone, it's this is loud, this is fun. I remember really enjoying it, and I remember telling my granddad after the first show, we got to come back. We got to do this again.
Was there any particular performers on that card that really appealed to you, that you were like, okay, I have my favorites on television, but if there's going to be people in and around the area, these are the ones that I want to see again on another show?
At the time, I remember seeing Troy Merrick, who was Sexton Phoenix at the time. And I also remember, I think he main evented, it was JP Sims. And I'm like, this guy's our John Cena. I remember thinking that as a kid.
Was it just the way that he acted in the ring? Was it his promos? What was it that really, really appealed to you?
I loved his ring work. He did the RKO. That's always a fun move. Gets a good pop. And maybe I also thought he wore the shorts as well. So maybe that's why I put the resemblance with John Cena. He got the shorts. He got the short hair. And he's main eventing right now. Just that's where I put them together like that.
Okay. And then who were some of your favorites in the WWE world when you were watching week in and week out, that you were like, oh, I can't miss it because I got to see what this person's doing next?
Growing up, well, I was born in 2001, so I was coming up in Ruthless Aggression and PG era. So Shawn Michaels was my guy as a kid. Anything Shawn Michaels, I had to watch. I had all the. I remember having at least 5 or 6 different Shawn Michaels action figures. I'd go to Walmart, and if there was a Shawn Michaels that I didn't have, I'd get it.
He's a big over-the-top personality that you can really get behind, but then also delivers in the ring. He is a full package, right?
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit, right? Fandom is probably, and I mean, we all have that kind of period of time where maybe we fall out of it a little bit. We tune out for a little bit, social development, growing up, things like that. Mm-hmm. So let's skip all that. Where were you at in your life when you decided that you wanted to actually pursue it? You wanted to break that barrier from just fan to actually become somebody that is involved in the industry?
That's a good question. I was excited to answer this question because I remember seeing the first time I ever seen Marcus Burke on a UCW show. He faced Matt Hardy, and I remember them tearing the house down in the Spryfield Lions rink. And after that show, my dad was friends with the owner of UCW, Chuck Martin, and I asked Chuck Martin after that show, I'm like, can I help tear down the ring, set up the ring? I just want to be involved. I just want to help in this business. And I was doing that for 6 to 8 years before I took the jump to actually get trained. So I had a little bit of backstage experience, and then I made sure I finished my high school and everything like that. And then Troy was doing classes, his Cobra Clutch classes, and I seen two or three classes before me, and I was like, I wanted to do it, but I didn't. I asked him at a show when he was doing classes again, and he said summer of 2023, and this was about 2022 Christmas time. And I was like, all right. I said right in my mind right there, I said, I'm going to be in that class. So when he told me that class was in 2023 summertime, I told him in December, I was like, I will be in that class.
How did you deal with the anticipation? I mean, I have to imagine if you're tearing down rings and you're just involved in the backstage, it's because of a true passion that you have for the industry. And maybe there was some hesitation before, you let some other classes skip by, but now hey, in this many months I'm going to be there. Was the wait absolutely excruciating?
Yeah, for me, like I've always been a small guy too. So my biggest thing was like hit the gym, hit it hard, get as much extra muscle on as I can. I've I've played like some sports, so I knew like the physical aspect. Like I've played football, like I knew it was going to be hard. I was going to be tired, like, but I was. It was more excitement, but then there's like watching it your whole life, being around these guys for like 6 to 8 years backstage. I was more worried about like failing more than anything. I did not want. I'm like, I respect these guys so much. Like I cannot let them down. Like I need to give it 110%, do my absolute best inside the ring, outside of the ring. So a lot of excitement and nervousness, I would say.
Okay, so take me through then your feelings and the emotions when you actually started training that first day in class. You probably had ideas in your mind what it would look like, what it would entail, but what was the reality of it? Was it something where you're like, I didn't know it was going to be this hard, or I didn't know it was going to be this challenging, or hey, this part actually came a lot easier for me than I expected? Like, take me through some of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions to those first few days of training.
So I remember right like the first day of training, I'm pretty sure we all stretch out and stuff, and this is in the summertime. We started in June. I remember being in a hot barn in the summertime, and we're all stretching, getting ready, and like luckily it was a small class, so we all kind of had a good camaraderie. It was like there was four of us, so like we were all like, all right guys, we can do this. Like we all, if one person didn't have one thing down pat, we would be like, don't worry. Like we were thinking like the time to make mistakes is in training, so you don't make those mistakes in front of a paying crowd. Like you might only pay $30 for the show, but I remember my coach saying $30 is $30. Someone paid their money that they worked for to come see you, so make sure you're always giving them 110%.
That's amazing. So it sounds like you guys had a lot of support with one another. Did that help you with motivation, with drive when you do have those days that are a little bit tougher, when those mornings you wake up and your body might be a little bit more sore, that you guys had each other to lift each other up and just get through the whole process together?
Yeah, we had a little group chat with just like the four of us, and we were like we would say like, all right, just remember, say our footwork wasn't the best that day. Like we go home, we'd be like, just remember, like footwork, like solid feet, move with a purpose. Like we would keep like driving that into each other. Like so then if one person's kind of forgetting something, we have the other three to kind of pick us back up.
That's amazing. How long were you in training before you started to maybe get some experience in a ring, whether it's, a little battle royale spot or getting a match or just even a run in? Like, how long were you in training until you started to get your feet wet in the ring?
I think it was June to August is when we did our training. Like two of them had a match either right after training, it was like a couple weeks, but me and one of the other guys in there, we actually waited from August till October. So we had about as long as we were in training, we waited just to get that first match in. It was a 2-in-1 show, so we faced each other early in the show, me and Deuce, Anthony Harlem, and we faced each other, had our first match together. We drove together on training, so we were really comfortable with each other. So we were kind of glad to have that first match with each other. And then from there, we had our first match, and then we got thrown in a battle royal later that night. So my first ever time wrestling, I killed 2 matches in one night.
This might be a very, very basic question, but how did it feel? Years of fandom, lots of training. Even if the career ended right then and there, you got to do it. How did you feel getting 2 matches in one day and just being able to look back and say, I wrestled?
I'll never forget breaking curtain for the first time. They played my music, and I have about a little 20-second intro, and to say my heart was probably beating out of my chest might be an understatement even, but I remember I was in back. It was about 5 or 10 seconds till I broke the curtain, and there was this big table here. And I remember just slapping that table. They probably heard it on the other side of the curtain, but I was so I guess excited and just ready. I was definitely nervous too, but once I broke that curtain, it was all just excited. It's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm finally doing this.
And what sort of feedback did you get after that night, whether it be from people running the show, peers backstage, or even family or friends?
Well, luckily, my family has been very supportive for me. I live in Halifax, and my first match was around Bridgewater area, I believe. So we took the drive up, and luckily I had my girlfriend, my granddad who got me into wrestling, and my stepdad was with me, and they've all been so supportive. They were all really impressed, they're and happy that they knew I wanted to do this from a very young age. I was in school telling people I'm gonna be a wrestler. Some people laugh, and I'm like that made me just want to do it more. I want to prove all the naysayers wrong. I said as a kid I would do this. My goal was I'm going to do this at least once in my life. I was like, if I wasn't good at it, hey, I wasn't good at it, and I'd stop. But I just had to do it at least once to just see if I could.
That's amazing. You had to prove it to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so after that night, we know where we are now. You are, part of the industry. So can you take me through some of the highlights that you've had during your career? Whether that be matches that you've had, fan interactions, because you went from one side of the barrier to the other side, or even just, maybe some starstruck moments. You got to meet a performer that you didn't expect to meet, and just, some OMG moments that you attribute to wrestling. Can you take us through a few of those?
So before I even got trained, I shows with people I was working backstage when Rob Van Dam came here, was a big name. We've brought Booker T down here. I've got to meet him, Mick Foley, some real WWE alumni that are big names. I was like, wow, I've watched hours of this guy on TV, and now I'm shaking their hand is literally blows your mind. It's crazy to me. And since I've been wrestling, I know even just a local guy, Lincoln Steen. He's been wrestling for about 25 years. I'm only 23, about to be 24. I'm when I wrestled him, I'm like, this guy's been wrestling longer than I've been born. I'm like, this is crazy to be in the ring with someone with that much experience. And I find working someone with that much experience, I learned so much just working a 10, 12-minute match with him.
Well, how about some of your more just favorite matches that you've had? They don't necessarily have to be the best matches you've had, they're just memorable for one reason or another, whether they're milestones or performers that you were just really connected with in the ring. Like, what are some of the best matches or favorite matches that you've had?
Some of my best matches were, I'd say, maybe with Deuce Anthony Harlem. He's like a bigger guy and I'm small. So those David versus Goliath matches, I love them. It's like I have to throw everything and the kitchen sink at him to even stand a chance, right? So we've had like maybe six, like we've faced each other 4 or 5 times, and we've even tagged together for other promotions. So he was someone I have a lot of experience and enjoy working with. And then when I got to work the other two people in my class, I was excited for that because like I've trained with them for like 2-3 months. Like I learned what I know with them. So to be able to finally work with them in front of a crowd was a fun experience.
Let's talk what's next for you. Like, what is the next goal? It doesn't have to be like at the end of the road, but just like, hey, here's a company I'd like to work for. Here's a city I'd like to visit. Here's an opponent that, maybe is still running the same circuit, but I just haven't had a chance to. Like, what do you want to scratch off the wrestling bucket list next?
There's a couple big ones. My wrestling coach is retired right now, but he was my biggest dream match. It's like, I want to face the guy that taught me what I know. JP Sims I've worked him in a 6-man tag, but that's not quite the same. We might have had hands on each other for a minute or two, but that's a person I'd really want to work. I'd like to wrestle outside of Nova Scotia. I haven't done that yet. Or I have wrestled in New Brunswick, so that's not true. But maybe outside of the Maritimes, I would like to get to. Even Newfoundland. My grandfather's from Newfoundland, and he's the reason I even know what wrestling is. So to wrestle in Newfoundland with him there would be like awesome to me.
That is awesome. I mean, the fact that he was able to go through that whole experience with you, I feel like that would be a fantastic full circle moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like let go of the shackles, dream opponent. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain how it would happen. Just if you could pick anybody who's lacing their boots up right now to get in the ring with, who would it be? And you don't have to worry about how big of a name it is.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. A couple of the guys I'm really into, Braun Breaker, he might rip me in half, but it would be fun. Someone like Kenny Omega is really like one of those, like they can do everything in the ring pretty much. So I feel like he would be like really fun to work. And then I was a big Edge fan growing up, being Canadian, so maybe Adam Copeland, Edge would definitely be a dream opponent.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk character work a little bit. I know that does sometimes transition and it is an ever evolving thing, but there is always a start, a middle, a finish. When you were getting into training, did you kind of have an idea who you wanted to be when you were wrestling, what persona you wanted to put forward when you were in the ring?
It's kind of funny. I always pictured myself like as a baby face. Maybe I was like thinking, I'm gonna come out, be very high energy, like excited, and then I was hoping the crowd would be high energy as well when I come out. That was my main idea, but I actually for like over a year I've worked heel, which I didn't think I'd work heel at first, being so small and stuff. I thought I would be more like in those David versus Goliath type matches where maybe they'd want the small guy to win. But being a heel, I definitely like learned a lot. Like I like that you get to take control a little bit as the heel. Like if you want to slow things down, if you want to I can just get out of the ring and stop wrestling and then essentially take a break if I want to, just argue with the crowd a little bit. I didn't think I would enjoy arguing with people so much being a heel, but it is fun. It is really fun, I have to admit.
So it sounds like you were reluctant to be a heel, but you have been working as one. Was that something that was like suggested to you? Was there a circumstance of something that happened in a match? Like, how did it actually become that you started carrying that heel persona?
So see, in my first year, I started as like Vincent Tyler. I was doing the paint like you can like seen on the picture there. And after that, I ended up being another moniker too. So I was wrestling as like two people at once. So I was Vincent Tyler for being face. I'd paint my face high energy. And then when I did heel work, I was Max Power's little brother, Maurice Power. So my introduction was just coming out with Max, and he was already heel. So that means I have to be heel too. And then yeah, my first time with him was in a bar show too. So it was like my first bar show, and the energy in a bar show compared to like an arena or rink where there's like kids involved too, it's like two different type of energies. So I found the bar environment to it's fun for heel because you people will not hold back on you, so you do not have to hold back on them as much as you have to keep in mind with kids. Like if I want to swear at the crowd, that half of them are swearing at me in a bar show. So
I think that that would be a lot of fun because I do think that the face paint is awesome, but I've never actually seen that. The first time I saw you compete, you actually were with Max Power. You had the suit on, and there was even a little bit of the comedy element, right? You guys were playing up the suit coming off and things like that. So, do you enjoy that freedom that you can be different people and maybe some nights you're not feeling the heel and you get to be the face. Sometimes you can do a little bit of the comedy. Like, does that diversity really appeal to you?
yeah, I enjoyed it because like I would go back and forth. Like some shows are like, hey, we want Vincent Tyler, and then some shows are like, hey, we want Maurice Power. So I was like doing like both at the like one week you'd hate me, the next week you'd love me. So it's like it it was really fun. I also didn't think I would be like a comedy typed wrestler, but like doing it a little bit, and it is really fun. Just getting them to laugh. Like wrestling's really physical, really serious. So just to be at a show and just to get a couple laughs in, like really like eases some tension, I find, and it's a fun experience.
So let's take a minute to step outside of the ring. You have some time to yourself, free time to just recharge the batteries. What kind of hobbies or pastimes do you like to partake in?
Big video game guy since I was a kid. Like I said about with the wrestlers earlier, I'd always go to Walmart and buy wrestlers, and I remember every Christmas time it's like SmackDown versus Raw 2006, next year 2007, next year 2008. I remember I had to have like ever since SmackDown and Raw up, I've probably had all of those video games because I used to love the character creations. Like, you know, do you want to wear tights? Do you want to wear shorts? Do you want to wear trunks? Like there was so many different options, and I found that really really appealing.
Yeah, I actually remember when the very first SmackDown came out on PlayStation 1. I got it for Christmas. And then my parents got me like the next four every Christmas. They knew what they were doing with the timing. And my parents were just like, oh, we don't have to think about this. We'll just get you the next one. And then, yeah, the creator wrestler and things like that was like your first chance to really work on a persona when you weren't really thinking about it. But outside of wrestling video games, what other kind of video games do you enjoy? What are some of your favorites?
Call of Duty guy, GTA, like the shooter games. I'm really into like racing games are really fun to me. Like I really love the Forza Horizon type games, and I like the games that come out on both consoles because I've had PlayStation when I was a kid. Then I went to Xbox and I went back to PlayStation. So it's like I just love when they make the games for everyone. Like whether you have a computer, whether you have an Xbox, whether you have a PlayStation, you can still play everything. Like, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon just came out on PlayStation. Never would have thought you'd see the day. But when it comes to open world racing games, I'm an OG with Burnout Paradise. There's nothing better in my mind than that one. So before we close out, I like to ask everybody the same question, and it can be a little bit challenging sometimes. But if you could go back and talk to a younger version of yourself, maybe when you were just debating getting into wrestling or just starting out, what piece of advice would you give yourself at that time that maybe could help somebody right now that is on the fence and debating if they should or shouldn't give it a shot?
Just no dream is too crazy to go after. Like, is like, I know people around here that before there was training around here, they went out to Alberta and stuff to get trained by like Lance Storm and stuff. There was no training out here, so like whatever you got to do to chase those goals and your dreams, I say you should always do it. But for someone small like me, I would definitely say the gym is your best friend. Eat all the food you can. Mom's making you supper, eat a plate, and if you can, go eat seconds too. Just eat the gym. Eating the gym's the biggest thing I would probably tell myself.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a physical activity. You want to get your body prepared as much as you can. Thank you so much for doing this. Before we sign out, can you just let people know once again who you are and maybe where they can follow you on social media if they just want to keep up to date with what you got going on?
I am Vincent Tyler, formerly known as Maurice Power, and you can find me on Instagram at _Vincent_Tyler and Vincent Tyler on Facebook, and those are the two that I'm mainly going with these days.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was fun, and I was looking very forward to it.
Thank you for tuning in to Independent Wrestling Profiles. Please help out the show if you can with a like, subscription, or review. We'll see you next time.